Alright, now we're going to work on the quotient and zero rule. I've used these two together because quite frequently whenever you get an exponential power of 0, it's typically going to be when you're using the quotient rule. So let's take a look at an example of such. So for instance, to start off with, I'm going to do the zero rule first. The zero rule means that when you have any exponential power of 0, so any base with an exponential power of 0 is just going to be equal to 1. So just to give you some more examples to make it look a little bit more complicated, because you might think me looking at this going, wow, this seems really simple. Now, not very frequently are you just going to be given a base with an exponential power of 0, but it may happen. So for instance, if they gave you something like this, if they made it look really big and complex, 3b to the power of -2, right, and it looks like wow, I'm gonna have to do some work here. But then on the outside of these parentheses they say, well, but it has a power of 0. Well, then that makes it real easy. You're gonna say, oh, well, the whole thing has a power of 0. Well, it's just gonna be equal to 1, and that's the answer. It really is that simple. Now I do want to go ahead and show a problem that you may run into, because they like to use this particular idea when you're doing the quotient rule, and so you have more than one step that you have to do. So let me give you an example. So for instance, say we had, let's do 12 to the power of 8, and then it was divided by 12 to the power of 8. In this situation, we need to use the quotient rule up here on top. And the quotient rule says that when we have bases that are the same, we just simply subtract their powers from one another. So this is equal to the base of 12 to the power of 8 minus the power of 8, because we want to move this up to the top. And to move it up to the top, we just subtract the powers. So we got 12 to the power of 8 minus power of 8. That's going to be equal to 12 to the power of 0. Now this is where it's easy to make a mistake. You might see this and forget about this zero rule and want to just put, well, 8 minus 8, it gets rid of the exponential power, I'm just going to have 12, but that's not the case. Your exponential power will actually be 0, and it matters because 12 to the power of 0 is just equal to 1 according to the zero rule. So keep this idea in mind. I doubt you'll ever be presented this or this, but you will be presented something in this manner, and it may have a string of numbers. So just keep that in mind, that that's how you handle the zero rule.